All right, live on YouTube, Audsie reading John Mundy, A Course in Mysticism and Miracles. This mic is all yours.
Excuse me. Oh, thank you so much, Lynn. And yes, I am happy to be here and we're reading John Mundy and the Course in Mysticism and Miracles, Begin Your Spiritual Adventure. He's written several books. I love his writing style. He's just so clear and it just always makes perfect sense to me. One of the first books of his I read was Living A Course in Miracles, and I just feel like it really explained it a lot better for me than the actual text did at the time. But yeah, so I'm excited to keep reading this. We're over halfway through the book already. And we're in chapter 13, The Miracle of Work, on page 142, the top of the page. So I'm just going to get right into it here. And if anybody ever wants to say anything, please just unmute and speak away or raise your hand if you prefer. But if I don't see you, please come on in. All right, Karma Yoga, the way of action, and Bhakti Yoga, the way of love, call upon us to work with devotion through selfless service. When we work with dedication, whether peeling potatoes, sweeping the floor, or cleaning up another's mess, it is not a curse or a chore, but an act of love. I love that. There's a difference in whether I'm washing the dishes to clean them or washing the dishes to wash the dishes, and just really sinking into that and being able to have this 180 experiences, like in the past where it's very vigilant for cleaning, almost to the point of an OCD almost, where things had to be in their certain place. But of course, that wasn't the type of person I was. So it was always just this incongruent sort of feeling almost. And if the clutter got there, it just created almost this sandstorm inside of chaos. And now when I'm cleaning, it's not because, oh, that's what you're told to do, or that's what you're ingrained to do, or the habit. It's really just this act of blessing this house. Oh, Karen, please. Oh, you're muted.
That is so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that. And it reminds me of what the Course says about, he talks about every living thing. And Ken Wapnick teaches be kind to every living thing. And that really helps me because every living thing, there's nothing out there. So it's our decision-making mind that we're using to either choose the ego thought system or the Holy Spirit thought system. So when I'm cleaning the house, like right now, my house is a little in a disarray ever since my surgeries, because it's just too much to put everything away. It's easier to keep things out for me right now, and it's been that way since my surgery last year. So my house is a little cluttered, but it's okay, and the toaster, the oven, if the toaster doesn't work, if the oven burns my pizza, I always say this, it's like if there's a little fruit fly flying around, watching, this is all opportunities for forgiveness. It's all opportunities to watch the mind, because every living thing is a representation of our thoughts. So it's very helpful to remember that. And, like you said, you do it with love, or we do it with fear, and why not do it with love? So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's so true. Like putting things away, it's easier to keep them out. I have a Vitamix And the bottom piece, I'm telling you, that sucker is heavy. And some days I just don't have the strength to even take it out. Like my hands get sore. So I was leaving it out on the counter for a while. I mean, it's so funny how I can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. It's just hilarious now to look back and be able to see this. But when I'm in it, when I was in it, how can you see it? And what compassion I can have for other people now, instead of being like, what are you, an idiot? And of course I was saying that to myself. And it's like, yeah, I am an idiot. But I mean, that projection, you know, that it's not there anymore, because how could I not have compassion? I get it now. I mean, I lived it. I've lived the experience of that and the experience of this, and then a little bit of in-betweenness. So I just am grateful for that awareness and just the way things unfolded. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see what I can see now, which is love is the primary thing now. I mean, the other just rears its ugly head every now and then. And the true I, not Audrey, the I am, can just stand there and just be, and it's unaffected. So yeah, I love to just bless everything. And it makes me think of Beauty and the Beast and Belle and being in the castle and everything's alive, the cups, the teapot, the saucer. And I think of that, not that I'm sitting here and thinking, oh, it's all, it's not like that scene. I mean, they're obviously inanimate objects and whatnot, but I swear I can hear something. Like the other day, the sink dropped and I heard this song in it. I'm like, oh wow, the sink, the tap, the water, that whole setup could even sing back and give me gratitude back. Like it was just this beautiful, it's like a harmony, a symphony. So I love it. So thank you. Peeling potatoes. It's not a curse or a chore, but an act of love. Yeah, because before it would just get right away, it'd be like, oh God, why is this here? Like even something as simple as a piece of paper, it's like that, even that would upset the equilibrium. It's like, oh my God, that doesn't belong there. It gets to be this curse, you know, a curse. A chore becomes the curse, but it's all an act of love. And in that acting of love, I'm finding myself more able to keep up with the quote unquote cleaning, because it's been repurposed another way. And also, Ash just moved out too. So I guess we're going to have less people in the house. So I guess that always makes less mess too. All right, back to it. Selfless service promotes awareness and develops wisdom, patience, and forbearance. 20th century Indian guru Swami Ramdas lived on charity, but he never accepted money. His practice was to view the world as forms of Ram, which is God. Therefore, he saw everything that might befall him as the will of God. Whatever act you do is worship, he said, when it is done with the thought of God. Whatever act you do is worship when it is done with the thought of God. I love that. Sink into that. Mysticism is the acknowledgement that we are all one. Consequently, whatever works, whatever good works we do are done for ourselves. Work is rewarding when we are engrossed, immersed, or wrapped up in it. Wrapped up in it. Then there is only the love of doing what we are doing. Devotion is a way of being with ourselves and with God. Any work done with devotion facilitates awakening. When we move deeply into work and creative endeavors, we set aside the ego. Isn't that true? I love Zen tangling. I know that Mickey does Zen tangles, and that act of just getting into making the strokes. And yeah, there's a whole process with that, but yet it's not so confined that you have to stick with it. It's just really being deliberate and getting into this flow of being with the paper and the stroke of the line. I just think it's just a beautiful, beautiful creative way of spending a little bit of time. Karen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's just reminded me of being in the present moment. You know, I read a quote recently, and it said something like, if you're going to drink a cup of tea, drink a cup of tea. You know, it's like drink the cup of tea, like savor the cup of tea, hold the cup, feel the cup, taste the tea, you know, and it's like in every single moment, like right now I'm eating lunch and I'm just trying to, I've always been a really fast eater growing up because there were 6 kids, you know, we all, you know, we were like greedy, you know, we all wanted to get the food before the other person got it. And so I always ate fast. Everybody in my family eats fast. And now I'm trying to really practice eating slowly, enjoying the food, taking the time, savoring it, and you enjoy it more, you know, just like you were saying. It's like, so it's definitely a practice and it's an undoing. So I love to be reminded of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, but I've realized that I stand up and eat a lot, and we're not a sit down and eat a meal type of thing, because I've realized that I'm just like this grazer. I sort of graze all through the day, and I don't really give myself that opportunity to eat a full meal sitting, focusing just on the meal. I'm just always sort of, but you know what? I've realized that, so what? I mean, the funny thing is that before BM, I call it BM, before meds, I used to just have so much noise in this head of mine that when I started taking these pills, I couldn't believe how quiet it was. And in actuality, like the other day, I was doing just some reading. Actually, I'm just reading Regina's NTI again and doing her tips and stuff. And I had in the background something playing at like 2 speed, like just some sort of whatever it was, like just it's almost like, and I was there, oh wow, this is like I'm almost creating this noise again because it was like so comfortable in order to do this, and there's nothing wrong with it. What was wrong before is all the judgment that would come in about it, and then put on top of that more and more layers. Now it's just seeing, oh look, I'm playing this on 2 speed while I'm reading this and writing these things, and it's all okay. I'm aware of it all. Like it's not, I can't concentrate or I can't, it just was this beautiful, it just happened yesterday or the other day. And I was just like, wow, so what if I now put layers upon layers? And I got these new earphones too, and they actually mute out the sound behind. And I've found that just wonderful, because that even has helped the focus in a different way, because then if I hear the TV, I don't hear it right behind me. It's a little bit further back. It's pretty cool. It's like Canva layering, I've put that into the back. Bring this up front. It's like manipulating everything. It's quite amazing. So I'm grateful. Thank you. Excuse me. Let's see, where are we? Devotion is a way of being with ourselves and with God. When we move deeply into work and creative endeavors, we set aside the ego. Musicians do not think about where their fingers go. When they start thinking about which finger goes where, they are apt to make mistakes. That's so true. And we're watching hockey again. Well, I'm not really, but Mike is. And he talked about that, about being in that flow. Even the players talk about it. And if you start to think about the play too much, then it's the thinking level rather than just being on the field and letting it unfold. And my goodness, I've had so many experiences I can look back on and be like, what was that? Who was that? So the realization that something else takes over, like in a job interview, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I could feel my mouth is so dry. I'm not even going to be able to open it to talk. Like, this is the physical experience because I'm so nervous, and something takes over and I'm this amazing. I'm so amazing with it. And I get these jobs all my life. And it's like, gosh, I sure have these people fooled. But I mean, it was just just not knowing how it was happening, but it was Audrey not getting in the way. And I love looking back at stuff and seeing that's how things played out. I mean, who walks with me? It's always been that way, right? Excuse me. So yeah, the players on the field, they don't want to think about their moves. The musicians don't want to think about their fingers, where are their fingers. The artist doesn't think about where the paintbrush is going. It's all lifing. Lynn says that Wayne called and he will not make it in. You can do the throwback on Tuesday after your sharing on Tuesday. Oh, is that Tuesday of when we read the book, or today? Anyway, it's all good. We'll figure it out. I'll do this for another 15 minutes and then I know Wayne's not coming, but I'm not sure if I'll play the video or not. Medieval mystics felt that work done with the hands provided knowledge inaccessible to the leisured class. When the church descended into the Dark Ages and mystical studies were forced underground, they were conducted secretively within the various trades or guilds. When a corrupt and authoritative church was unable to offer spiritual solace, people found comfort and mystical insight in the practice of their crafts and trades: blacksmithing, silversmithing, carpentry, masonry, medicine, leatherworking, music, and more. Freemasonry was one outgrowth of this deep esoteric inner working that was not allowed within the church. The word mason, now used to describe the esoteric fraternity, comes from the French word mason, meaning one who works with bricks and mortar. Carl Jung and Winston Churchill both laid bricks to invigorate and center themselves. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water. Mason, the Mason, it's the fraternity. Now I've heard some things about the Mason, like it's kind of a scary, not scary, but it's, I don't know. I've heard some things that it's a very interesting old entity almost. I don't know. I don't think there's anything more to say about that. Now let's go to on vacation. John, this is from John. When our avocation is our vocation, we are always on vacation. I love that. When our avocation is our vocation, we are always on vacation. Yes, I'm gonna need to take an allergy pill. Why does these little pills, why do they help do something? The magic. I love the magic. I'm taking magic anytime I can get it. Knowing that it's all just all is. Okay, so work is something we do with our heads, not with our heads, our hearts, and our hands. H3, H to the power of 3, heads, hearts, and hands. Although fewer people dig, drill, carve, chisel, mold, assemble, forge, cut, weave, sculpt, sew, paint, or saw today, we use our hands to touch computer keys and buttons on our cell phones. The most respected of ancient occupations were actually those in which people did fine work with their hands. Thus, in art and music, as well as in the trades, people were making inroads into the soul without the church. Hermes Trismegistus, legendary Neoplatonist and alchemist, writes, "The work is with you and in you in such a way that once you find it in yourself, where it always is, you have it always, wherever you may be, on land or sea." The alchemist symbol is the Athenar, the furnace. That's funny. A furnace is where things are transformed through fire or heat. I'm laughing because the furnace ducts are going to be getting cleaned today, because tomorrow we're getting a new furnace because our furnace is not operating properly. That may be what this extra sinus stuff has been too, because ATCO, our gas suppliers, had come in when it was still cold, and he didn't shut our furnace off, but he could have by law, because it was emitting these not so great odors and it's just not operating properly. But I had said, well, the birds are still alive, so we're okay, because they would be the indicator of the environment not being okay for breath or living in this seemingly world. The alchemist symbol is the Athenar, the furnace. Alchemy involves turning things over, buffing them, burnishing them, rubbing and polishing them, improving, changing, and perfecting them until they are fully realized. Ooh. The book is written, the house built, the concert performed, the painting completed, the self realized. Fire is the most ancient alchemical catalyst. Human consciousness developed around campfires. Staring into a fire for hours on end leads to meditation. The earliest mystics used fire in their crafts. They were potters, smiths, cooks, and bakers. And like the process of self-realization, the working of pottery, glass blowing, and forging and molding bronze and other metals all involve a number of stages. Lynn, I love this. Lynn writes in the chat, nobody knows how they work. LOL. It's faith. Now I gotta have faith, the faith, faith. I gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. Baby. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Tic Tac Hand describes the symbiotic process of self-realization thus. Without a rose, we cannot have garbage. Without garbage, we cannot have a rose. Contemplation calls upon us to turn things over.
God bless you.
Thank you. I was able to mute so as not to deafen anybody with that is so much power that comes out of a sneeze, you know, that, whew, it's a force. Contemplation calls upon us to turn things over until the cooking is done. Through the process of rot or decay and putrefaction, we recycle our lives and turn base things into gold. For the earth brings forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. That's from the Bible, Mark chapter 4. We place little gems into the soil. Water them and then watch as they come forth from the dark earth, turning into fruit and flowers in the light of the sun. Then we take raw food matter and combine it with other foods. We mix, beat, heat, and cool them until we have turned them into what nourishes the body. Likewise, when we write, we take an idea, jot it down, work with it, add to it, and work it over again. Then we see it aside, go away. Then we set it aside, go away, and return to the work with a fresh perspective. Then we edit, cut out the chaff, leave the gold, bring in new ideas, sift through, synthesize, feed again, sift through again until it's finally done. This process of keeping a spiritual diary deepens the writer. Thoreau and Kierkegaard both took journal writing seriously. Kierkegaard said his journal was his most trusted confidant. Japanese Buddhist Dainen Katagiri, who emphasized the need to return to our original enlightened state, claimed, if you commit to it, writing can take you as deep as Zen. Excuse me, I've been writing again too, and it's amazing how such little things come out, just little gems, like just yesterday. Listen to the love inside and outside. Blasts of love showering the infinite field. I love that. That just came as the pen was writing something. Sorry about the incessant nose blowing. Got a piece of Kleenex in my mouth. My apologies, but I mean, what am I apologizing for? What? It's gross. I mean, it's just, I'm not sure why. Why apologize, right? There was something else I wrote the other day. It was this pretty cool little, this is this fishing. It was something to do with the whole fishing analogy. I don't know if I'm meant to read it because I don't see it here, but it was kind of neat. It surprised me. I like when I am writing and then, you know, I re-look at it and it just sort of, I'm like, isn't that clever? And before I used to think, oh, Audrey, you're so clever, you know, oh, what a clever little girl. But now it's just, I know that it's just allowing for the truth to come out, and it's available for everybody. It's not just me that gets to be this, it's all of us. So where are we here? The writing. Japanese Buddhist Dainen Katagirl, who emphasized the need to return to our original enlightened state, claimed, if you commit to it, writing can take you as deep as Zen. Such inner work is an ongoing process. It involves the discovery and unfolding of an insight that is progressively wonderful and fulfilling. Gandhi found alchemy in the act of spinning. Your alchemy may be music, or you may knit, or quilt, or sail, or sculpt, or work with wood. Through this work, the wood speaks to the carpenter, the garden converses with the gardener, the garden converses with the gardener, the wood speaks to the carpenter, and the sink, the running water, spoke to the one who was doing the dishes in it. We go back to the cleaning and get rewarded by the sounds or the happenings of everything humming together happily. And the piano plays with the pianist. Loving what we do and hearing the call of destiny in it, understanding God's plan and throwing ourselves into it helps us discover greater and greater depths of creativity and increase our fulfillment. While insight can be gained instantaneously in a lightning flash of intuition or insight, for the majority of us trekking through the world of illusion, spiritual maturing takes time. It's the cooking, the gestation, the seed growing secretly that deepens character. There are many ways of serving God, and no one way is holier than another. But the way we approach the work is holy or not. Whatever you are doing, cleaning the house or writing a book, washing dishes or playing a musical instrument, when we do it in service and with devotion, we find out more about God. And just like that song I played the other day, everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And with that, I think I'll release the mic, and I thank you all. And Karen, thank you for the exchange. That was beautiful, and just so grateful to be here and get to read this book, because this is where I come to get myself to read books I want to read. I love you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Audsie. Man, this has been a day. I'll tell you, a very interesting day today. I really appreciate you reading this, I love you and I love John's work, and we'll get Wayne straightened out. Maybe Tuesday you guys can do that, and it's perfect because it gives you a chance to do what you wanted to do with the recording. So I love it. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and close the room. Everyone who's been here and stayed here, I appreciate it so much. And we'll see y'all tonight, maybe, for our deep dive into the Song of Prayer.